Evening. I'm Emily Ouija, and you're watching another special episode of The Smoking Section, brought to you by Cambridge Citizens for Smokers' Rights. Tonight, I'm once again in conversation via Skype with eminent English blogger Frank Davis. Frank has been a guest on the show several times before, but tonight we'll be discussing a recent and very interesting online phenomenon, the Smoky Drinky Bar. The Smoky Drinky Bar is quite simply an online video chat room where smokers and sympathetic non-smokers can meet up to talk, smoke, and drink. Frank will be explaining a little bit more about the concept behind the Smoky Drinky Bar later on. Smoky Drinky Bar has been a popular success among the international readers of Frank's blog in the last 2 weeks of its existence, but the goal is to expand the base and attract more visitors. The more the merrier. Smoky Drinky is truly something that has to be experienced to be believed. I'll be showing the URL on the screen at the beginning and the end of the program where you can visit Smoky Drinky Bar. Be sure to visit it soon and check it out for yourself. Hey Frank, how are you today?
A little bit hungover.
Oh yeah? Does this have anything to do with the Smoky Drinky Bar?
Yes, it does.
So, can you explain as an introduction, what is the Smoky Drinky Bar?
It's an online bar where people can come and meet up and smoke and drink and chat and do more or less anything else they like. So it's and the Smoky Drinky Bar can take up to 12 people, and so once 2 or 3 people are there, they usually just get chatting away and smoking and drinking, and things go from there. And I was on it for 7 hours last night.
7 hours straight. Wow.
Yeah.
Pretty impressive. So how did you first come up with the idea for the Smoky Drinky Bar, and how long has it been open at this point?
Well, it's been open 2 weeks, and it wasn't really that I came up with the idea. It was one of my commenters, Miss Ackerman, noticed this thing called Appear.in.
Appear.in, right?
That's right. Yeah, and I think he left a comment on my blog about it, and because I've been doing quite a few videos and things like that, I took a look at it, and as I thought about it, I thought, well, this could be a sort of meeting place for people, and a meeting place for smokers and drinkers, and that was really the beginning of it. And we then tried out the free version, and then I decided I'd get the premium version where you get 12 people in the room.
I think what I've noticed so far, what to me what kind of sets this apart from other online conferencing tools or meetup tools, because there's a lot of them now. I mean, there's Google Hangouts. I mean, there's obviously Skype. There's Google Hangouts. There's FaceTime. There's a myriad other applications for video chatting or conferencing or what have you. I think the benefits that I see of this are that, number one, it's group chat, very easy group chat, so up to 12 people can join into one room. And number two, I think it's just the pure ease and simplicity of it, that you just have a URL that people go to. They don't have to download any kind of plugins or special software. They're basically, They click on the link and they're in there. So I think it's probably the simplest online conferencing tool I've seen.
Yeah, and yeah, that's the point. I mean, what's good about it, as far as I'm concerned, is things like Google Hangouts and Skype and stuff like that tend to be sort of one-on-one, and well, that's not true. It's not strictly true, but there's something about it. So I haven't really quite put my finger on why it works, but it does.
Mm-hmm. And can anyone? So I know that there's actually members, right? Anyone can visit this room, but you can also become a member. And what is the advantage of doing that?
Well, becoming a member means you get notifications when anybody goes into the room, and I think you get certain privileges with it. I'm not entirely sure, because I'm the sort of landlord of going to only be going 2 weeks. And,
Right. And from a technical point of view, what is the absolute basic that you need in the way of equipment? Obviously a computer, but you obviously need a webcam, right? Anything else?
You need a computer, and probably a fairly modern one. Webcam, microphone, and both of those two are very often built into notebook computers these days.
Right, it's very common nowadays. Yeah.
The only other thing that seems to be essential is to have earphones, because if you don't have earphones, then you can get quite a lot of feedback going around the whole system, and people become inaudible.
Right, I agree with that. The other thing that's interesting to me about this that I've noticed is that you can go into the room. So let's say you had a very basic old computer where you're able to access the internet, but you don't have a webcam, and you also don't have audio output. You could enter the room, but you would not see or hear anything going on. Whereas it seems like if you, let's say you don't have a webcam, but you do have audio output, you can go in and you can actually hear people and they can hear you. We do have one member where that's the case for him. So I think it's almost it almost kind of matches what you have in terms of your system as to what you can see going on. But it's also kind of nice because people can't log on anonymously, completely anonymously. I mean, there could never be someone invisible in the room watching and listening, and you wouldn't know that they were there.
Yeah, that's true. In fact, last night at one point, I think there was somebody who arrived in the room, and they didn't seem to have any webcam or maybe even a microphone. And I was vaguely wondering about who is this person, and they didn't stay very long.
Right, but I think with that sort of case, they just can't see or hear anything. So it looks to them. I'm not sure if it looks to them like an empty room, but I know that they probably can't hear anything. So it's interesting. So I think a lot of people might just think, well, what's so special about Smoky Drinky Bar? It's really just an online chat room. That's all. It's
together, and Smoky Drinky Bar looks like a good way of doing it. Already over the past couple of weeks, I've got to know personally a lot better quite a few of the commenters who post comments on my blog, and I think that's just a good thing. And it also provides a bit of a social life. I mean, I don't really have a social life.
Yeah.
And it's just nice to meet up with people and chat to them.
It definitely is. I personally, and I think all that is definitely true, that smokers should meet up and talk to each other. I personally see an even greater concept behind it. Yesterday, a Saturday, was July 1st, was actually the 10-year anniversary of the UK smoking ban, so the indoor smoking ban in so-called public places, which were actually also private properties such as bars and pubs. So this UK smoking ban was foisted upon the public without a popular vote on July 1st, 2007. So Saturday was the 10-year.
I'd say go ahead and recycle it. If it turns out that they can't recycle it at the facility, they'll pull it out and they'll trash it for you.
Rather embarrassing. these things happen. Yeah, that was why I was actually really quite cock-a-hoot all through yesterday, because I thought this is a way round and it's working. And I can't think of a way in which the anti-smokers can demand that online bars have smoking banned in them.
Well, actually, so it's interesting you bring that up, because it kind of segues into my next point. I can think of one way that this will be crippled and could possibly be ruined by the advance of the anti-smokers that's already taking place, which is the encroachment even further on people's private lives, by the fact that a lot of smokers might not even be able to smoke inside their own homes anymore. And I think this is increasingly the case, especially I'd say in America, and I'm not sure about in other countries. But in America, I think there's an increasing number of people who either rent apartments and are prohibited from smoking explicitly in their leases, or they live in public housing where smoking is prohibited. Or maybe there are people whose partners or family object to them smoking indoors. It could also be people who own apartments, who are forbidden doing it by their condo boards, or that they share a wall with someone and they've had complaints from neighbors. So I do think that that's one thing that could eventually be a problem for even a concept like Smoky Drinky Bar, which is meant to get around smoking bans. Unfortunately, smoking bans have crept even into our own homes.
Yes, but the way I look at it is back in the 60s, it was illegal to smoke cannabis, which I think it was, or to possess it, or something like that. And people were being sent to prison left, right, and centre. But that didn't stop people smoking cannabis in their own homes. They'd disguise it in one way or other with joss sticks and all the rest of it. And I can't see anything different happening with tobacco. Yes, there are rules and regulations, but if people want to get around them, they will. So I'm not. I think it's not so much the law. I think what would be harder is if you've got a partner who is anti-smoking and doesn't want you smoking in the house. I think that's harder.
Mm-hmm.
Not so much the law.
Right. Yeah.
Which can be ignored.
I agree with that. I definitely agree with that. I do think it's hard for a lot of people just because societal prejudice against tobacco smoke is so strong right now. I've had the experience many times of living in apartments where I'll actually smell people smoking cannabis, which to me smells much more strongly than tobacco smoke.
Indeed.
Yeah.
It does.
Right.
It does.
Right. But in the past when I've experienced people smoking cannabis, I mean, no one says anything about it. No one would really ever complain unless it was really, really heavy, constant thing. But I feel like now with tobacco smoke, people are much more likely to complain and to feel that they are justified in complaining about tobacco smoke.
Well, I think it's going to be a matter of disguising tobacco smoke. I got some little paper things to burn, which give off a very nice smell. They're sort of like joss sticks, but I don't like joss sticks.
I don't either. I don't like incense. I think we refer to it here as incense for our American viewers.
Yeah.
I don't like the smell of incense, so I'd be interested to see these papers.
Yeah. They're like, I'll light one.
Okay.
It's the simplest thing to do. And as I was thinking, you've got what you do is light them like this. Which I should have folded it up first, but
And what's the idea? Are you supposed to hold it, or are you supposed to put it down on the table or somewhere?
well, I've got this one. It's on my tobacco tin.
Ah.
And it's just burning away slowly. It takes 2 or 3 minutes for it. But it's a lovely odor.
What does it smell like?
It it smells slightly of a kind of vanilla or something like that. And so I've been starting to burn these on the grounds that it will actually change the way my flat smells and will change the way anyone else smells it as well. So it's not really burning quite right.
Well, I'm curious to hear the results of your experimentations.
Yeah, I haven't figured out the best way to fold it up. I've tried various things, but it's...
I'm sure you can find a YouTube video that will show you.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
So,
anyway, this is the sort of thing that I can imagine people doing, and it's just an adaptation of what people used to do when they smoked cannabis.
yeah, that's a
right.
good point. Yeah.
And how are they going to tell the difference between tobacco smoke and any other smoke?
Right. Yeah.
This smoke it's going to have mostly the same constituents.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's an interesting point, especially as, I don't want to get into cannabis too much, but it's interesting, especially in America, as more and more states are legalizing the use of recreational marijuana. It's going to be interesting to see how the smoking of it in public places is handled and how that's going to clash with existing smoking bans, which were set up with tobacco in mind. So, so I do wonder whether it will help tobacco smokers, the advent of the popular use of marijuana.
Well, we'll have to see.
Yeah.
Anyway,
in other words, you don't see the fact of people not being able to smoke in their own homes. You haven't seen that so far as any kind of stumbling block with the success of Smoky Drinky Bar.
Well, not at the moment.
The other thing I'd like to mention here in conjunction with that is that the people do have the ability to sign on from their mobile phones. So, even if people can't smoke in their houses, they could be standing outside having a cigarette and they could log on their phone, right?
Yeah. Obviously, they don't have to be smoking cigarettes, the whole time. It's just, that's what Smoky Drinky is intended for. It's for smokers and other people could have other different sorts of things that brought people together. But it works fine with iPhones and other phones as well.
And with tablets, with iPads, other tablets. Yeah. That's great. So one other thing that so far has been, I don't want to say a problem, but it has been a consideration on Smoky Drinky is the time zone problem. So we've had visitors from all around the world. We've had visitors from Australia, New Zealand, United States, Germany, England, obviously, Greece. So one consideration is the time zones and what time are people meeting up here. Yeah, how have you experienced that problem so far?
I'm still trying to get to grips with it, really. What I'm doing at the moment is having is to appear in the Smoky Drinky Bar at 7 p.m. UK time, because that was the sort of time when I used to meet up with friends of mine in pubs in England.
So just a side note here for our viewers in Cambridge, so 7 p.m. UK time is 2 p.m. For us in Cambridge and Boston.
Yeah, Eastern Standard Time.
Yep.
But Australians and New Zealanders are roughly sort of 12 hours or so, 10 hours maybe.
I believe they're 10 or 11 hours ahead of you. Yeah.
Yeah. So they're getting up when we're going to sleep and vice versa. And but there are times when there is a certain amount of overlap, and so I've talked quite a bit to people in the Antipodes. And I think it's most likely, if it kind of takes off, you'll find that there's a kind of an English or European smoky drinky bar, which is going to be around about the time when I come on. But then about 5 or 6 hours later, if you get more American people coming in, you're going to find more and more Americans with a little bit of crossover. And then I kind of hope that there'll be people from New Zealand, Australia, Singapore, Hong Kong, places like that in another little area. And that's the sort of thing I'm hoping for.
So you've told me that you're working on some sort of computer program to try to help you figure out when the peak times might be that people might visit based on universal time clocks. Can you explain a little bit more about that?
Well, if you imagine a smoky drinky bar is its customers all come in at the same local time every day, let's say 7 o'clock. That 7 o'clock time is something that's traveled westward round the world every 24 hours. So you can imagine these little zones coming out. And yes, I did write a program to find out how many people are roughly who could speak English and smoke cigarettes and could get online in each of these time zones, how many people you could expect. And what you see is a starting at midnight or 0 UTC, which is universal time, which is the same as GMT. You find the Americas people would be going to the pub at that time. And then for the next 4 hours or so, while the smoky drinky bar is traveling over the Pacific westward, there'd be hardly anybody in it. And then you pick up New Zealand, Australia, China, which has got a very large population, and also India, which has got a large population. And so you see 2 peaks there. And then you see a lower kind of plateau as you pass over like this is west of us.
So your idea really though is that hopefully as this spreads, that people will just join on at the times that are suitable in their time zone and not worry about trying to get on at a UK happy hour time or even American happy hour time. Yeah, I mean they can choose to do so if they want, but the idea is that people should start to join at what is a natural time for them.
Yeah, that's the sort of line that I'm thinking about. I'm sort of hoping that you'd have people talking Cantonese so the language that is being used might change from time to time. At the moment, it's just English, and maybe they wouldn't. Maybe they'd only get only English-speaking people would come on at that time.
I hope so. I hope that as time goes on, that people will join from more and more parts of the world, which probably also has to do with the readership of your blog is mainly based in the UK, I would say, although you do have readers from all over the world. But hopefully,
well, I've got almost as many readers in the USA as in. Last time I saw it, that WordPress doesn't seem to be giving that information anymore.
Really?
But also, I've got readers across Europe and Australia and New Zealand and scattered all over the world, in fact.
And just one final question. Are you hoping to advertise? You're talking a lot about Smoky Drinky Bar on your blog, and you're providing the link on your blog almost daily. But are you also hoping to advertise this in other venues more widely? The URL, like on other people's blogs or on Facebook, on other social media?
Well, I was talking about this last night about ways of doing it. At the moment, it's just me, really. I don't think anybody else is. Well, somebody might have advertised it a bit, but I mean, the good thing about just me doing it, I suppose, is it's usually my readers and commenters who are likely to show up, and that is a different sort of. They're already part of a community in many ways, and now they're sort of meeting each other for the first time.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. It's only 2 weeks into the thing, and it's all doing pretty well.
Yeah, it's doing great so far, and I hope to see you on Smoky Drinky Bar again soon, and I hope to see everyone watching visiting there as well. Thank you so much for joining us, Frank.
No trouble.